Oh man, what a weekend it has been! Hello. I am the one and only Teej, and you are listening to Bearcast, coming to you live from the Jacket Show Straight Up Studio, part of the Electronic Media Division at CCM. How are you doing? It's been a week, of course, and my, what a week it has been. It's just been aggravating. It's one of those weeks on where you start just feeling worn down by it all. It doesn't matter how long you sleep at all or anything in that regard. You just feel fatigued. And I know that I can't be the only one out there listening right now who is feeling that. And it may be because of finals, it may be because of allergies, it may be just because, I don't know. It's finally getting nice outside and we're still stuck in that indoor mentality. That's something awful that we need to change, and we're here to do just that tonight. Woo! No, seriously, it's been a crazy week for me. It's been a crazy week. Crazy busy, too. Now, I saw a couple of you out there at the Victory of Light Expo last weekend, and so good on you for coming out and checking that out. Holy crap! Was that such a crazy event? I did not know what to do with myself half the time. I was just running around like a madman. And if you came on Sunday, you knew exactly who I was, because I was that guy in the top hat who was just like, there's too much stuff to do. That sort of thing right there. No, I had a great time doing that sort of thing, but it was absolutely insane. I worked over 35 hours this past weekend alone. And so on Monday, I was just crashing something hard. I was dying. I stopped at a couple bars and then, just went home. I was just like, I'm done for the day. It's a personal day. After classes and after work, I was taking a personal day. Because it never stops. No, it never stops. Ever. But classes are said to promise that they're said to end in a couple of weeks, in which case we might get a small break until it's back to the grind once again. And that is your life for all of its existence within this country until, of course, you die. And afterwards, I don't know what the hell you do, personally. I'm not here to answer that question particularly, but at least inspire thought behind it. If I can do that much at least, I think that I've done my job. And doing my job is exactly what I was doing last weekend. So many weird things came up and that sort of thing. And I do need to mention, because it kind of came up in conversation today, which I was kind of surprised about. I'm not sure if anyone out there knows who George Norrie is, but evidently he is a broadcaster of he's the host of Coast to Coast AM, which happens to be a nationally syndicated radio show that's actually probably going on right now. Yeah, someone else actually shares this ungodly hour with me, that sort of thing right there, and there's my competition. Oh boy. Not particularly, we have way different audiences, but we both have strange audiences. Well, George Norrie, he's into the paranormal sort of thing right there, and so his Coast to Coast AM kind of focuses on that, and that's why he was at the Victory of Light Expo last weekend, and if you were there, you definitely know what I'm talking about. That's to do with the fact that he was, being an expert on a panel, talking about aliens and that sort of stuff right there. I don't know too much about it, and of course I didn't get to attend the seminar because I was busy myself. Seemed like a good, swell enough guy, though. Ended up having to escort him from his hotel to the center, which was kind of cool, made for some awkward chit-chat, that sort of thing, the small talk that we all attempt to do, and try to do a good job at it because it's considered a professional in that sort of sense right there, which I always have a hard time trying to do that whole route of that sort of thing. Oh, boy. We're going to get to that a little bit more later, but I do need to mention one more thing, and that is I did promise that I was doing announcements at the event, and wow, that became a bit of a headache, and you'd think, that's a very simplistic thing to do, just announce on the radio, announce, at an event. It's almost the same thing. Yes and no. I mean, broadcasting is broadcasting, so technically it should be all sort of geared to the same notion that you have an audience out there, and they are looking to hear information in that sort of sense. You are delivering that as the broadcaster. However, there seemed to be a bit of a misconception here at the Victory of Light Expo, because a number of people were complaining that the broadcasting, the announcements were interfering with, some of the readings, and, it was like cutting into the atmosphere. Well, I mean, it's kind of my job, actually, I was supposed to do that in the first place, so I really can't help you with that sort of thing. It was weird. We had this dinky little mic hanging out in the corner of the room, and it was just like the whole time I was just wanting to stop and go, clean up on aisle 3, there's a cleanup, something like that right there. Oh boy, the temptation just to make an ass of myself was way too high. We found a retainer at one point, that was sent to the lost and found. I don't know how you lose a retainer at that kind of event right there. It does remind me of my times when I had braces and that sort of thing, and that was a pain in the ass. And I guess, if you're eating and you're wearing it during the day and you set it out and you put it in a cup and then you just forget about it there because you think it's trash. Typically, individuals throw that away, though. But I guess this selfish individual, this heartless bastard out there, said, no, I'm going to leave my trash, which happens to be also my retainer. And so I did get to make an announcement about that. I didn't have to, but I really, really wanted to, just because it sounded funny. That was about the closest that I could get to actually, doing something that's related to this wonderful show here and, the whole broadcasting professionally sort of bit. Oh, man, it was difficult. I had to talk slowly. I had to stop articulating so well and that sort of sense right there. After a while, I just wanted to, get on the most arrogant voice that I could come up with and just go, whoa, yes, coming up at noon, we have several seminars coming your way, and make sure that you make your way downstairs in order to do that. That sort of sense right there, but frankly, that just gets so tedious and a lot of energy. Way too much energy than I had right there. So that was fun. That was crazy. But what did happen a little bit afterwards, a couple days ago, in fact, was the E-Media Award of Excellence, or Excellence Awards, which I got to attend. I don't know if you recall, but I mentioned this in the past. I guess the E-Media program is trying to, trying to display some student works as well as, just show people for their accomplishments and that sort of sense right there, which is a really great feeling, honestly. And I do want to thank the Jack and Jones Trader Studio Award for nominating me for their award there, which was very, very exciting. And we got to go up to Nipper Stadium, that new pavilion, that sort of thing right there, looking along the whole stadium, which I figured was possibly the only time that it will ever be up there, let alone go to Nipper Stadium for an event. Not a big American football fan, if you hadn't picked up already, and considering the fact that you're up at this hour listening to me ramble on in that sort of sense right there, I'm going to guess that you're not particularly a sports fan either. Just going to throw that out here. We're going to make a whole diagnosis for you tonight, and by the end of this, hopefully we'll have a complete psychiatric evaluation of you, and, do with it what you will. It's just another great service here provided to you by the one and only Teej. Oh boy. No, it was very nice. It was a very nice award ceremony right there, and some great food, and got some wonderful, wonderful comments from some instructors out there that I've had in the past as well as the present. And so more than anything else, I just wanted to thank all that who were involved in that sort of event there, and also all you lovely people for being out there listening right now and making me aware of the things that I do. And, giving me a purpose for all of this, because I do have a lot of fun with this, as well as I love knowing when I'm able to perform at an adequate level. So getting that feedback is always a great thing, whether it be positive or negative. So it's always a plus when it's positive. I'll take complaints, though. That being said as well, I do want to thank my radio instructor from high school, Trisha Raypock. You're not out there listening, but I will give you a shout-out nonetheless. Wonderful, wonderful woman who did get me to gravitate towards this field in radio, which wasn't always going to be the case. So there you go. Thank you so much for that. In addition to a couple other things surrounding the event, at least, I did get to wear the top hat, and that was a big hit, that sort of thing right here. I think they need to make a comeback, so if you want to join me in that manner, please, please, please go out, buy yourself a proper top hat. Don't go half-ass on those plastic pieces of shit. You don't want to do that. It's just not worth it. No, you go out, you get yourself a dapper, proper top hat, and we'll go out. That sort of thing right there. I'm counting on you. Contact me. I'm on the Teej page, TWJ, and that is at the Book of Faces, or the Facebook.coms, if you are familiar with that phrasing. Oh, boy. Well, I'm probably going to kick it over to some music now, but I did want to mention one last thing, and that is, I don't know if you've noticed, but I really haven't introduced Terry on the show yet. And for those of you who don't know, Terry was and is, he's still my current producer. He's running a little bit late to the studio. He was a little bit upset because he applied for the Jack and Jones Trader radio/audio production award and didn't make it, and was very, very upset to learn that I did. And, as you know, Terry and me, we don't get along particularly, despite being in this collaborative process of putting on this show for you once a week. And with that little level of competition right there, he's really not taking it the best. Ooh, my bad right there. I completely forgot that level was not checked. No, as I was saying, he is a little bit upset by this whole occurrence right here. He thinks it's unfair. He wants a recount, that sort of thing right there. Being a sore winner, or loser, I guess, is really how we're supposed to describe it right there. And so he's showing up a little bit late. He's on his way at least, but I think that it's, a good time for me to at least connect with you and not have to worry about Terry standing over my shoulder, which is always a nice thing. And for any of you, because I can say this for now at least, we're curious about the whereabouts of Susan. I have yet to hear any confirmation of whether or not she was her whereabouts or, how she's doing, if the gnome colony has come back to accept her, or if she's still being punished for her actions of befriending me. It's a little hard to know that information is, I may not ever receive it, And I thought, we created that connection. We had that connection here when she was living here in the studio, which, I know it's not her fault. Gnomes, they're nomadic by nature and all, and that being said as well, we did mention about the technological barrier right there and how, keyboards are not really gnome size yet, and they're still working on that, but it's, years and years behind in that sort of sense right there. So in order to, find access to a computer and, go through the exhausting process of jumping around on a keyboard, I can understand why I haven't been able to get contact yet. But Susan, if you are out there listening, I do miss you very much, and your presence in the studio was, I don't know, it was always just a positive feeling knowing that you were out there right now, and hopefully, you're doing all right and you're out there still listening in that sort of sense right there. So just a shout out to her. I'm going to definitely kick it over to some music now. I got a new CD by Portugal the Man. It's not, alright, it's new for me. It's probably new for you, but it's not technically new because it came out in 2009. But really, really great track called People Say. And I realized I didn't have this album, and I'm like, why don't I? I just need to buy it. And here's why.